Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Riverfront. If you're just listening to this on audio, you don't know what you're missing. But welcome anyway. I'm your host, Chad Dotson, here at the episode number 410 of the world's most mildly dangerous podcast. With us this week, again, your friend and mine, Chris Garber. He seems a little excited to be back on the show.
Welcome back.
Also with us this week, again on video, you'll notice his name is not Pokey Reese, but he's actually not Pokey Reese. He's Nate Dotson. How are you, Nate?
I'm an honest man, if nothing else.
There you go. Exactly. So lots to talk about this week. I do want to go ahead off the top, and yes, I know there's an echo here. I'll have this thing figured out by next week. Hopefully, it's not too distracting. But what are we going to talk about this week? I guess we have to talk about the lockout. That's why we start every week, and the players are still locked out, but there was some, not movement, but some news that came out this week. And this is going to be the earliest we've ever done a viewer mail question. But I think there's a good viewer mail question here that helps us frame the debate. And Chris, I'll read it and see if we can get your thoughts on this, because I believe, based on your Twitter feed, that you have some thoughts. Woo the Reds. These are viewer mail questions, come from our friends at patreon.com/riverfrontcincy. Woo the Reds.
I don't think you said there are more O's in woo.
I didn't say it. Woo. I need to say it like at the stadium. I'm a certified fan of the Woo, not Woo the Reds. Not a fan of him. But the Woo at the stadium, yes. What are your thoughts that even having a severely shortened MLB season in 2020 is perhaps the Trojan horse of the labor disputes? The owners learned many things from that 60-game season and expanded playoffs that under any other scenario, they never would have considered worth the risk. I've started to view this as the owners have certainty around their financial risks in terms of games played and are absolutely fine with a standoff. Do you see this as anything more than trying to break the union? And Chris, it's a little unfair because I didn't give you that question ahead of time here for you to prepare. So have fun.
I'm convinced at this point that is the point. That breaking the union is the very and essentially the only point in this standoff. The owners, as we all remember, chose to lock out the players. They chose this labor dispute. They didn't have to do it, and they chose to do it. And when you start to look at compare the offers, compare to who's conceding what, who's trying to gain what versus the status quo, the amount of money in question isn't very large. And the amount of principal isn't very large. So why then do we have negotiation sessions that last 15 minutes?
As happened earlier today.
Yeah, it may be that the owners don't really want a deal. They certainly would take a deal on complete capitulation from the Players Association. But short of that, I think they're content to ride it out. And obviously they have more money in the bank than the players have in the bank. They can ride it out longer. And they want to break this union's back and ensure that they can have a salary cap, maybe a floor, maybe. But they want not just cost certainty, but they want cost containment. And they're willing to make us all sit and watch what happens.
Oh, exactly. We don't even factor into this conversation. I was optimistic that a deal was going to get made and that we wouldn't miss games, and it might be delayed spring training, but I was optimistic, and I think that I was right to be optimistic because if the owners wanted a deal, we could have had a deal weeks ago. I mean, that's just a fact. As Chris says, the amount of money they're arguing over is a lot to you and I. Well, not to Chris, but to Nate and I. But it's not to the owners. It is not to the players. Frankly, they could make a deal here. I've become firmly convinced that the owners have nothing to lose here. Nothing to lose. They really don't. And they're going to play hardball until they get what they want, and eventually they know the players are probably going to capitulate. It's kind of well, I got some more thoughts I'll give in a minute. Nate, anything you want to say?
I feel like they should find a way to mandate, to train and test throughout ownership tenure You have to remain a fan of baseball. I feel like these guys, they're just trying to win. It reminds me of national politics. My team versus your team. Doesn't matter what we're saying, what anybody believes. It's us versus them, and that is it. That's the end all and be all. It sucks. It's no fun. I just want some baseball back, and the owners don't seem to care that that sentiment even exists.
Isn't it odd how competitive they are now when they're completely willing to tank and save, a penny rather than try to compete all baseball season? But now the Castellini group is competitive.
It's like this is the game. This is the what they want to achieve. It doesn't wins on the field, whatever. Fans having fun, whatever. Even the bottom line in terms of season revenues, not really as important as, oh man, this is the real game. We get to beat the players. It's kind of a game within a game. I want to mention there's a baseball writer named Joe Sheehan, and Chris is a big fan of, or at least has read Sheehan's stuff for a long time. He's forwarded it to me occasionally. I've been a subscriber for some time as well to his baseball newsletter, and he had a kind of a tweet thread I think last night that I saw it this morning when I got up, and it was kind of it was dire. And then my favorite baseball writer Joe Posnanski kind of wrote about it today, and I just want to kind of run through just briefly what Posnanski said, because it really clarified for me what's being fought about here. And so the amount, of course, is in the neighborhood of $440 million that they're fighting over. So somewhere in that neighborhood. But and Posnanski makes the point, well, that's a lot of money to you and I. But the point is that it's actually a number that they could negotiate, and somebody whatever, but they could negotiate that number. And what he says is kind of what Chris just said. There's no larger fight here, no grander ambitions, no effort whatsoever to deal with the many issues baseball faces. The players have caved on all that. They've given up on getting earlier free agency. They've given up on getting earlier arbitration. They do not seem interested in getting minor leaguers a living wage. They do not seem to know how to stop major league teams from manipulating service time. As far as I know, they have not pressed to right the absurd wrong of the MLB pension plan, excluding older players who didn't play 4 years. The rule will be 3 days of service, but he gives the example of Pat Darcy, who gave up the pitch in the World Series, and Fisk, member of the Big Red Machine, who played 3 years in the big leagues but doesn't get the pension because the rule didn't change to 43 days of service until 1980. So he asked, what's the player in the tide? The owners have been kicking their butts for 20 years now, and they're just trying to stop the tide, and they're not going to. They're just not going to. And I would encourage you to go read Joe Sheehan's newsletter for the entire piece, because it is spot on. Any sympathy with the owners in this fight, and so many baseball fans do, which I don't get. Maybe we can discuss that. But if you have any sympathy, you need to read that piece, because it lays it in perfect clarity.
Yeah. I want to be very,
Chris, I know you have sympathy with the owners.
Yeah, I want to be very clear to anybody watching this. The amount that you pay for your ticket, the amount that you pay for MLB.TV, the amount that you pay for a beer at the stadium.
That's a lot.
What you pay for a hat, a pennant, or a pack of baseball cards has nothing to do with what Joey Votto makes for a living. What you pay is what you're willing to pay. And the owners are going to charge you whatever you're willing to pay for that product. And that's fine. That's the American way. But at the same time, they're trying to pay the players as little as they can. And that's fine too. But those two things are totally separate. If Joey Votto or Jonathan India makes less money next year, you're not going to save 50 cents on your Michelob Ultra at Great American Ballpark. They're not connected. stop rooting for billionaires versus millionaires. You can sit it out. It's fine. But you're not going to come out ahead in this deal based on rooting for the ownership.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that we're talking about mostly billionaires versus millionaires. A lot of these players aren't millionaires. You got to think some of these people that are hoping for their first cup of tea have never got that big payday, and they're really just hoping to. And at the same time, these minor leaguers who are not making a living wage, their minor league wages are a joke, really. And the owners are talking about axing the amount of positions on the minor league rosters as part of their concessions. It won't be long before America does what America does best and outsources their too expensive labor to China. The minor leagues are going to happen in China.
Oh, okay, probably, yeah. It's just it's frustrating. And I'm sure those of you that support the owners are all over the place. Drop into our Twitter feed at Riverfront Cincy, and I want to hear why, because it makes no sense. It makes just no sense whatsoever in this case. This is not like any other labor dispute in any other industry. This is just owners have a they have a monopoly, frankly, and I truly believe they're willing to see the season. No season at all. No season at all.
It's crazy that you'd go 2 out of 3 years with a truncated or no product whatsoever and think you'd succeed. I think it's wrong. I think those guys are missing out if they really think baseball can keep pace with the National Football League, the NBA, the National Women's Soccer League, Big Bash League Cricket, and all of our other entertainments, when their product has been strong, but not as strong as it used to be.
How many people under the age of 30 do you know that are huge baseball fans? Your kids, your nieces and nephews.
My kids aren't. My kids will not watch a baseball game.
My son loves playing baseball, but he won't watch it.
My kids play baseball. They play softball. They watched every Bengals game all season long, the whole thing. They'd watch the shows, the TikToks, baseball. They play it. They don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. My son will watch, people playing Fortnite and people playing, Minecraft, baseball. No, not so much.
My daughter was watching Animal Crossing videos tonight.
As you do, yeah.
Apparently,
we were like that at that age. Anyway, so I think it may be in that finally tipped me over the edge, but I just don't see it happening.
It's fun that we started off this podcast on such a high note, and I'm not going to lie to you. After going through the best second baseman in Reds history, it's not going to get a lot better.
That's true. That's where we're headed here, and that's the top position in Cincinnati Reds history, no doubt. So, but stay tuned. Let's talk about the other news of the week before we get into that, and there's not much of that. But I did want to mention a couple things. First of all, ESPN came out with their top 100 prospects. If we care, the Reds had 3 at the top 100. It's the same 3 that we would probably guess. And of course, that's Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, and Ellie De La Cruz, number 100 with a bullet. So I know you'll have a lot of things to say about that prospect list, but I'm reaching for news for the week, I guess.
I had this thought the other day with I was thinking about Joe Burrow. And Hunter Green is kind of Joe Burrow is kind of what Hunter Green was supposed to be. Right? I mean,
quarterback?
Completely, Hunter Green was number 2 overall, but he was the most prominent, the most famous player in that draft. And he was supposed to be the savior of the organization and the guy who was going to do it differently and the guy who was going to come in and really flip things upside down. And Joe Burrow delivered on it. And I know baseball is different than football. And Joe Burrow is probably older than Hunter Green. I haven't checked. But Joe Burrow is what Hunter Green was supposed to be. That was what we were hoping when he was drafted. Is going to be the guy who's going to put the franchise on his back and do exceptional things and change what was possible. And I guess we're still waiting.
He can still do that.
We'll be waiting too much longer.
Baseball's different, but he could still be that guy, right? To the extent that any baseball player can.
Yeah, we got time.
Yeah,
for
sure, for sure.
Yay,
I think we'll
we
see.
agree.
Do you think we'll see both of those guys early on this year, or at the same time, perhaps?
Well, if we have are we saying we're going to have a season?
Where are we going to play?
There is that. My only thought on this list was that they left my boy Graham off of the top 100. He'll be there. He'll be there next year.
Well, Graham Ashcraft is in the news this week, Nate, right? We got some spring training news. You want to talk about that while I go try to fix my internet?
Well, you said we were reaching for news today, and some pitchers and catchers did actually report to spring training. It's not the group that we had hoped to see, but there are some fellas that are getting ready to play a little baseball. I don't know. Can you get terribly excited about it? There will be some baseball news coming out. What do you think?
I was wondering. I'm glad you said that, Nate, because I was actually wondering if they were going to start minor league spring training on time. I don't. There's no reason they shouldn't. But the fam and I are going to be down in Florida at the end of March. Originally, hoped to see some spring training games for Major League, but I guess we can go see some freebies at minor league camps at least.
Yeah, I think there are at least a handful of players down there that will see some action, so it's not a total waste.
Graham Ashcraft, Nick Lodolo, Donovan Benoit. I don't know who that is, but he's there.
How about Willie Moe?
Willie Moe should be there. Jose
Larson?
Franco.
Juan Francisco.
Wow, dare to dream. So anyway, yeah, whatever. I'm like, gosh, is this really what we've descended to here? Oh, I think we need to get into the topic of the week.
Yeah, let's just move on.
Yes.
Whose birthday is it?
Yeah, you were supposed to tell us that, Chris. Come on.
I'm sorry about that.
Topic of the week should be the Super Bowl. Can we just take a moment to celebrate the Bengals? We've talked about them a little bit in recent weeks, but I mean, yeah, they should have won that game. And yes, there was some goofy play calling. And yes, there's some silly officiating. But man, what an incredible season! And Chris, you're the big long time Bengals guy. Nate and I are kind of bandwagon in some ways. What are your thoughts now at this point? Almost a week away from that game.
It's interesting. It's so hard to get to the Super Bowl. Everything's kind of got to line up right. And they won 3 games in a row to get there. It was fun. It was great. There's no two ways about it. The things that made them lose that Super Bowl were the same weaknesses they'd shown all year. Namely, some spotty offensive line play and some weird play calls in short yardage situations.
Spotty offensive line play. Hold on, can I just say, spotty offensive line play? That's an interesting way to put it. That's kind of generous. They set an all-time record for sacks surrendered in a Super Bowl.
3 out of the 5 groups looked like they were standing on skateboards the whole game. But if the crazy thing is they've got obvious areas to improve. They've got cap space and money to improve it, but it's so hard. I mean, Brandon Allen and the Bills are going to improve, and Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to improve, and Justin Herbert and the Chargers are going to improve. And Lamar Jackson's going to be back. Look, there's so many good teams in the AFC. So I was happy to induct my children into Cincinnati sports fandom last Sunday night.
They understand now.
There were some things thrown in the house. There were some things slammed in the house. There were some things disavowed and cursed in the house. But that's how it goes, and they got to learn. My oldest, son, who we've talked about before, he's a Cubs fan, and he was a Cubs fan whose teams won the World Series when he was 8. So that dude deserves it. That dude is got it coming to him in a lot of ways. So, I think we take it. Like, those guys are going to be legends in Cincinnati forever. And, like, all the parts that suck about being a fan, all the parts that are torture, all the BS and nonsense that you deal with for being a fan of a Cincinnati team, for 2 weeks, the Bengals were one of the 2 best teams in the NFL. And it was really worth it. It really was worth it.
That's what I wanted to hear. That's what I wanted to hear, because that's why we actually do this podcast and why all of you all are listening, all 3 of you, including you. Hi, Mom. It's worth it. But I understand, we're getting ready to try to sell our house, and I don't tell anyone that's looking to buy, but there's still a little hole in the wall that have to get fixed from when Jay Bruce dropped a fly ball in 2010. It's still there. We've not fixed it yet. It's kind of a reminder. But the truth of the matter is, they were this close to literally being forever known as the best team in the NFL. And they genuinely could have won that game. It's true. There's so much room for them to improve, and they could really improve, but never get back there. So I guess the point is, enjoy it while you've got it, I suppose. Nate, any quick thoughts?
No, you guys kind of hit the nail on the head. It sounds like Chris kind of made the argument for expanded playoffs to me.
In baseball?
Give everybody a chance to get there. Who knows what'll happen? All I know is that it was fun. It was fun, being a part of that ride. I'm not gonna pour a drink out for him because this was a $19 bottle at Kroger. But
I don't know about playoffs, Nate. I mean, they won their division. You know what I mean? They went 4-2 in the division, beat everybody but Cleveland.
That's true.
I'm a big believer in the regular season, and I don't know if you were teeing that up for me, but like, I don't want expanded playoffs. I don't want more randomness in the MLB.
I think it's reasonable. I just would love to see the Reds in the playoffs sometimes.
However they get there, right?
When our starting pitcher doesn't drop the baseball while he's on the mound.
Oh, man. Hunter Green won't do that.
No, he won't.
What are you an Oklahoma City Thunder fan there, Chris?
This is the Ohio Thunder youth baseball, ohio-thunder.com. If you're interested, between 8U and 15U, we'd love to have you.
I don't qualify. All right. So anyway, let's get back to the actual topic of the week. It should be, how great is Joe Burrow? How great is Jamar Chase? I mean, that's what they should be, because those guys are just fantastic, and they've kind of rekindled a love of football in my life. But we're going to talk about the Reds. I'm sorry. That's kind of why we're here. Top 5 second baseman in Cincinnati Reds history. Okay. Now, I have this tendency to write dumb tweets. Did you all have you all noticed that?
I do have Twitter, so yeah, I've noticed.
Anyone that has Twitter and has come across me. Well, sometimes I like to say dumb things just to get a reaction, because it's Twitter, and people fall for all kinds of nonsense. Like we tweeted from the Red Lake Nation Radio, whatever the show's called. We tweeted from their account at Riverfront Cincy. A picture of King Griffey Jr. in a Mariners uniform, and said, "Wait a minute, Junior played for the Mariners?" And you would not believe the number of people who were like, "Are you kidding? His dad played for the Mariners too. They were great." And then I posted a picture of Adam Dunn and said, "What do you think? Greatest player in Reds history or no?" And most people get it, but some people are like, "Have you heard of Pete Rose?" That's the most common response, obviously. Not Joe Morgan or Johnny Bench, but so anyway. I posted a tweet about second baseman, because as I was doing a little bit of preparation for this episode, I was looking at my top 5 list, and I saw something that kind of amazed me, and so I posted these names, and I asked which of these 5 Reds second basemen have the highest career wins above replacement, and almost nobody answered this one correctly. They should have known it was a trick. So Brett Boone, Scooter Gennett, Pokey Reese, D'Angelo Jimenez, and Tommy Helms. Noted Reds Rookie of the Year, Tommy Helms. Now, you all know the answer now, I guess, but if you first looked at that, who would you have thought had the most career wins above replacement for the Reds? I probably would have thought Tommy Helms. He was here for a while. He won a Rookie of the Year.
I would have gone Brett Boone.
Brett Boone. He got better after he left the Reds, but that kind of colors the way you think about it.
I think we all imagine Brett Boone's 7 years for the Reds.
Right. It was D'Angelo Jimenez. Crazy.
It only would have made my top. You only would have made my top 5 because you put 5 names in there.
There you go. So that could be the top 5 second baseman. It's close, frankly. But let's talk about the top 5. Let's go with number 5. I'll start with my number 5. My number 5 is I really wanted to go with noted Reds Hall of Famer Ron Oster, who was the Reds second baseman for a big part of my childhood. Ron Oster is a Reds Hall of Famer. He is not anywhere near the top 5 Reds second baseman in history. I'm actually going to go with Jonathan India. I mean, just 1 year, but who else are you going to go with? D'Angelo Jimenez, Scooter Gennett. I mean, Jonathan India will pass both those in career WAR this year, if they play. So I'm going to. Maybe that shows you how slim the pickings are, as we say around here. But Jonathan India. Nate, who do you have at number 5 on your list?
I actually went with Brett Boone, and I didn't feel very good about it. No offense to Booney. I know he left for greener pastures and, better needles, but
Hello.
I was surprised when I was looking back through his stats. Like, I remember him much more fondly than the stats would portray. Still, he's top 5 in home runs. What else? RBIs and slugging percentage. He did have an all-star appearance and a Gold Glove. In a world where, using my rules of people that I at least remember, Pokey Reese is a contender. Yeah. The pickings were super slim. So I went with Boone at 5.
No, you can make an argument for Brett Boone at 5. There's no question. I didn't go there. He was too short for me. I don't like short second baseman. But, whatever. That's a personal preference. So sort of a stylistic preference, aesthetic preference. So Chris, who's your number 5?
Oh yeah, well I spent a lot of time preparing for this podcast and preparing my top 5.
I noticed
second baseman, and in conclusion, second basemen are a position of contrasts. I would say that my 5th best second baseman of all time for the Cincinnati Reds would be Lonnie Fry from the world champion 1940 Cincinnati Reds team. Lonnie Fry played a lot of second base, played some shortstop, was a decent on-base percentage guy, and a glue guy for those championship teams.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say Lonnie Fry actually ends up number 3 on my list. Certainly, I think he's top 5 here. I think Chris probably gives him Chris and I both probably give him a little bit of a bump because he's part of those forgotten 39 and 40 teams that, really the Reds, they don't ever bring those guys back for, a celebration on the field. I don't know why. Can you imagine any reason why, either of you guys? Why don't they have Lonnie Fry Day?
It would be very boring and cold.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Lonnie Fry, fantastic. Led the league in stolen bases once. So there you go.
I like that he spelled it Lonnie with a Y instead of an IE.
And Fry with an EY.
Yeah, Fry.
Could have spelled that name 5 different ways.
Yeah, he really could. And I think he picked best one.
Yeah. Quality.
Lonnie Fry lives to be 99 years old.
I didn't know that. I started to pretend that I knew that. Where's he from?
He was from St. Louis, but he spent his elderly years up in the fly fishing country of Idaho. I like to think he was kind of like the old man in River Runs Through It.
I think he was exactly like that.
I made that.
And
I
if you're
made it up, but I'm with it.
if you're ever in Bellevue, Washington, drop by Sunset Hills Memorial Park and check out Lonnie Fry's eternal resting place. Boy, this got macabre all of a sudden. We might need to just cut it short here. All right, so number 4. No, come on, that's next week. Best third baseman in Reds history. Nate, I'm gonna go for your number 4 since I've already mentioned him and kind of discarded him as a choice. But make the case.
I don't have much of a case to make. I went with Ron Oster as my number 4.
You hear that?
What's that?
Do you hear what Chad's talking about?
What is Chad talking about?
I don't know. He's gone mute as far as I'm concerned.
No, I got it.
Okay, good. All right. Well, as long as somebody can hear him, go for it.
I went with Ron Oster.
Around.
It's a pretty good example of how tough these choices were. I mean, he is 5th all time Red second baseman in home runs with how many? 42. So a lot of sluggers we've had over the years. The favorite thing that I found out about Ron Oster was when I looked him up. I typed in his name and then I put in fun fact because I wanted to find something interesting. And the first thing that came up was not many results contain fun.
That is the perfect description of Ron Oster.
Number 4, best second baseman of all time, said by me, Ron Oster. Arguably the least fun.
That is perfect. That is perfect. Remember that time when he was, Chris, you might remember this, when he was going to be the Reds manager there for a while, and then I don't know, whatever happened there.
The thing about Ron Oster, the selling point for him to become the manager was always like, he's a real Red tail.
Lifer.
Ron Oster's a real jerk. He's going to yell at everybody. That was like the selling point. The case for Oster.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Was like, he's just really angry all the time. So I'm pretty glad that he never really got that job.
Yeah, it might not have worked out well.
If you Google Ron Oster, like one of the top results you actually get is a New York Times story that says Oster, career in doubt.
Oh, surely not.
Which kind of could have been written at almost any time, but you remember he got, I think, was it Mookie Wilson was breaking up a double play in like, let's say 86, 87, and took out Oster's knee.
I think remember that.
Oster was hitting 300. So, I think we've learned that so much of what we remember and think we knew about baseball was like whatever Marty Brennaman happened to be thinking that day and like imprinted in our brains. So like,
all right.
like the goose who thinks, that the lady is his mom, we thought Ron Oster was a good hitter.
We did. Here's what I thought. Oh gosh, this is my Ron Oster memory, and I think I've mentioned it here before, but this is what comes to mind. I'm a kid. I'm into collecting baseball cards for the first time and just loving it. Oh man, I got to try to get Reds and all these Topps baseball card packs. And back in the day, they may still do this, but they had team leader cards. The top batting average and the top ERA on the team from the previous season. So, oh man, I got a top Reds leaders card, and Mario Soto with a 2.74 ERA or something was the Reds leader in earned run average. Reds leader in batting average. Ron Oster, 269. I thought, wait, that's not good. I didn't know anything about stats, but I knew that wasn't good. But Ron Oster got on a team leader card with a 269 batting average.
Those results contained fun.
He was world champ.
He did. He collected the ring.
So anyway, that's Nate's number 4. We spent way too much time talking about Ron Oster. My number 4 is a guy named Brandon Phillips.
Heard of him.
Yeah, Brandon Phillips. That's all we're gonna say.
Awesome.
Chris, who's your number 4, Chris?
There was a second baseman when I was a kid who I, again, listening to the radio and I'm not really understanding things. I thought that this guy was actually going to be good. And my number 4 second baseman of all time is Junior Kennedy.
Wow, you went off the board for that selection.
Right?
Mel Kiper didn't even have him on the draft list.
Junior Kennedy topped out at a 273 batting average in 1979 as the successor to Joe Morgan. And I would say he ranks right behind Joe Morgan in Red second baseman.
Very close. Yeah, that 273 average would have been great in 1982. He would have got it on a baseball card. Oh, my goodness. All right, let's go for number 3. I'll hit my number 3. I've already done my number 3, Lonnie Fry. So, Nate, I'll let you give us your number 3.
Yeah, I had to cheat a little bit on this one because I certainly don't remember much about this guy. Maybe y'all wrote about him in the Big 50. I don't know why he jumped out to me, but I went with Johnny Temple. Turns out the guy had some pretty good years. It was 59. He had a 110 and 113 OPS plus. Perhaps most notorious for later in his life being arrested for stealing farm equipment.
Wow.
I actually ranked my guys by moments of notoriety.
I like it.
Man.
How much have they stolen?
That's
Rick Mahler
impressive.
is the number 3 second baseman.
Mike Leake. Johnny Temple, he's kind of cheated here. He's a 6-time All-Star, which is good. I mean, it's good. But, in 1959, they played 2 All-Star games, and he made them both. So, I guess that still counts. And then, so the first 4 were with the Reds, and then he moved over to Cleveland and played in 2 All-Star games in 1961 as well. So, but no, a completely reasonable choice. Good on base percentages, that guy. He was a good player. Johnny Temple. That's all I know about him. I had no idea he stole farm equipment, though.
Yeah,
Impressive.
the last few years of his life were not great.
Just because he didn't get that pension. So we're just going to skip Chris for a couple of these picks here, I think.
Can I say Joe Morgan yet?
Go ahead. Say Joe Morgan.
Joe Morgan.
He's your number 3?
My number 3 and my number 2 and my number 1.
Chris, I'm banishing you. You're in the penalty box for 5 minutes. Go now. Get out of here. Penalty box. Oh my goodness, that's outrageous. All right, so my number 3 was Lonnie Fry. My number 2 was Bid McPhee, and I struggled with putting. How much do we want to talk about guys pre-1900?
Great.
I mean, it is a great name, and he was a childhood favorite of Bill Lax, obviously. But Bid McPhee, a Hall of Fame second baseman, he is second all-time among Reds in lifetime wins above replacement, 52.5. He's Bid McPhee. That's all I can say. Your number 2, Nate. We didn't really talk about him a moment ago, but so I'll give you an opportunity to.
Well, we don't need to say too much. He doesn't love us. I don't know why we need to love him too much. But I went with Brandon Phillips. I don't think it's really that close if you're just looking at it. Statistically, he played in the most games of any Red second baseman ever. He, more than anything else, he started a brawl with the St. Louis Cardinals and said some amazing things about him to the media, and I think he should be rewarded for that. So I rewarded him by putting it at number 2 on the most important list in Riverfront history.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, we've got some pre-existing difficulties with our friend Brandon Phillips, but certainly a great career and certainly a completely deserving Reds Hall of Famer. I mean, there's no question about that. I did have some guy on the Twitters the other day ask me completely seriously whether I thought he had a good chance of making the Baseball Hall of Fame, the National Baseball Hall of Fame. And, you try to be nice, but I'm like, well, no. I mean, there's zero chance, but yeah, he's gonna be in the Reds Hall of Fame. He deserves to be in the Reds Hall of Fame. He started a brawl, and he was never as good as people thought he was, but he was always pretty good. And so, whatever.
That's 6 years. If you're not watching on video, you're just missing out.
You're missing it. Where did you get that particular item of memorabilia, Chris Garber?
It fits so perfectly.
eBay.
Was it game worn, game used?
It was advertised as game worn. I suppose they could have lied to me, but
Who was it worn by?
It feels kind of
Junior Kennedy-ish?
Harry Spillman. It's a left-handed helmet.
It's a left-handed green Reds helmet. It's glorious. You know, I found it when we were cleaning out stuff at the house. I had a green Reds cap that I wore for years, every single day. I don't know. I love that thing. I need to get me another one of those.
Don't you miss John Fay and like the constant trolling about green hats with John Fay?
Yes.
And just like his misspellings on Twitter.
Jog toast. Yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about, John Fay used to be a beat writer. He was brutal on Twitter. Skip Stomacher, who didn't make any of our lists, surprisingly. Might be Chris. We're getting ready to ask for Chris's number one. So Nate and our number one's the same. So we'll go ahead and let you say who your number one is, Chris, since you've already listed our number one.
Has Travis Dawkins been taken yet?
No, so let's hear it.
Travis Dawkins.
Thank you. Did he have a nickname?
Like T-Dog.
Maybe. I don't know. Go look it up. Google it and tell us on Twitter if Travis Dawkins had a nickname. So Nate and I had Joe Morgan. We don't need to say anything else about it. Joe Morgan may be the best second baseman in the history of the world. Let's go into – so that's our list. The second base is not a big position for the Reds. It's funny. The best second baseman maybe in baseball history, and the rest of it is subpar.
It really got me thinking, like, if you went back and did this for other franchises, would it be as bleak? I mean, first base was pretty good. Catcher was brutal. Second base was brutal.
Shortstop will be good.
I mean, catcher's got 2 Hall of Famers. That's not totally brutal.
That's true. It's top heavy, but yeah. I literally put Tyler Stevenson in my top 5. So, I mean,
that's
unironically.
A good question, though, Nate. How many teams have, like, who's the third best second baseman on most teams?
Yeah, who's third base you, as they would say in college football, you know?
I challenge the Twitterers to let us know. But you're going to have to, like, directly tag me in the post because otherwise I will not read the Twitters.
You know, we'll do shortstop soon. And I bet the Reds are among the best, right, for shortstops? Top 5? There can't be that many teams have better.
What was the thing we figured out? That they were like – they had an all-star shortstop. Like every person who was a regular starter at shortstop had been in an all-star game from like 56 to like Paul Janisch.
Right, yeah. And then we got, or maybe it was, well, did Felipe Lopez, because he was an all-star, but there might have been a break between.
Conception to Larkin to Philo.
Philo. No, that wasn't Felipe Lopez's nickname. His nickname was Gookie. Come on.
So. To Rich Aurelia.
Oh man, the immortal. And
gross.
And now Kyle Farmer.
Dang it.
All right. So first viewer mail question of the week. These are her questions from our friends at patreon.com/Riverfront Cincy. Before we do that, we had a new subscriber this week, Nate. Did you know that?
Woo! Not woo. Sorry, that wasn't his name. That was just a reaction.
Did you know actually that we had a new subscriber this week?
It's all in the show notes that we did.
Okay, but you don't know who it is.
I do not.
Okay, well, we got a big thank you out to our new subscriber, Chris Garber. Oh, no. His name is Clay Christian.
Ooh.
You know who that is, right, Nate?
Ooh, that's good.
I'm aware of this person. Y'all may have heard me tell stories about how I witnessed Jay Bruce's clinch miss home run. Now there was a private bar with a private bartender and a buddy of mine and a bottle of champagne that we lost track of throughout the evening's activities. That buddy was Mr. Clay Christian.
Fine young man who you played high school baseball with as well, right?
Absolutely.
Good ball player. So Clay, I guess, Nate, I'm going to let you say, what position is he playing on our beer league softball team? Is he still able to play, do you think?
He's got to be the catcher. I don't know if he squats as easily as he used to, but he's definitely behind the dish for us.
Clay, you're the man. I think very highly of you. Thank you so much for joining the crew here. First question comes from our friend Joe Farsing. Joe Farsing, this is one that we're going to kind of crowdsource here. Homer at the bat, famous Simpsons episode with all the baseball players. Homer at the bat, but with current MLB players, and go. All right, so we start with Mike Trout, right? Got to be there.
Yeah, Mike Trout's got to be on there. I think you got to have players with some personality. Mike Trout actually might just barely make the cut just because he's the best player alive. But
He's no Mike Scioscia. It's
nobody
true.
watching the show is going to know who he is.
Do you guys remember the Saturday Night Live skit that had Mark Grudzelanek in it?
I do remember that. Yes. What was that all about?
Don't know. That's got to be like the lowest level MLB. So he's like an expo, and not even the best expo.
Yeah, really.
It's like, yeah. Anyway,
I'd forgotten about that. Yes. Man.
I think Votto is. I think Votto's got to be in there.
Votto's your first baseman. I agree 100%. Kyle Farmer. No. So let's go around the diamond. Who's your catcher? Is it Yachty?
Probably.
Watch a little bit. Which position are we?
Catcher. First base, Joey.
First base is definitely Joey. I don't know who catcher. Maybe
Votto's first base.
Let's just give it to Yachty because he's got a neck tattoo, and that'd be fun to illustrate.
He's like, he's known. He's a star.
He looks like a character already.
Exactly.
I'm not going to cross those SOBs again. Yadier Molina is the best ever.
Yeah, if you don't know, Chris had a run-in with baseball's best fans. Second base, I can't think of a single second baseman around the league. Are there other second basemen? Did other teams have second base? I can't think of a single one.
Adam Frazier, Marcos Semien,
Altuve.
Let's leave it open.
Yeah, we'll just leave that. We're no second baseman on this team. We're gonna let Homer play second base.
Altuve.
All right. Okay.
It would be a great animated.
You guys are right. There you go. A good. They'll have some kind of a cheating, B plot. It'd be good.
Yeah.
Third base. Gino, back when Gino used to be a actual Major League Baseball player, would have been good there. But
I think Bryant's the star.
I went with Bryant.
Chris Bryant. Okay. All right. What about? I guess he's retired, but Adrian Beltre would have been the guy probably. There.
Yeah. And Arenado's the better player, but Beltre is the star. He's he's the Mattingly.
Does he have sideburns? Shortstop.
Splits time. I went with Tatis Jr.
Yeah. He's the man. He's the guy you want to put in.
Yeah, but you got to have somebody with personality, like Trevor
They might
Story.
end up with some weird thing with like Trey Turner's in there, or Bo Bichette.
Right. No, it's got to be Tatis. So let's go with three outfielders. We already named one. Trout.
Judge for sure.
One Soto.
Aaron Judge, one Soto.
Yeah.
Bryce Harper.
Okay, so
Acuna, they might find a way to put Acuna in there too. And Otani's got to be in it.
Oh, yeah, you got to have Ohtani. So he's our pitcher.
I had Scherzer as the pitcher. Can we have two pitchers?
Why not?
Scherzer would be great.
Why not?
We're making this up as we go.
I'm surprised The Simpsons, it's been on for roughly 700 seasons now. I'm surprised they haven't returned to that. Get a crop of players. You can do it again.
I mean, who are the five biggest stars? Trout, Judge, Ohtani, Tatis, maybe Soto.
I'd say
Harper. I think Bryce Harper probably is the bigger star.
Yeah.
Scherzer's up there.
You got Scherzer. You got like your Freddie Freeman, your Buster Posey, your Molina, Chris Bryant, your what's the other pitcher?
There's only one other pitcher that we've not named.
Gonna need more help.
Verlander.
Justin Verlander. Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah.
About Kershaw.
You can go wrong, but those guys. I mean, I don't know. Am I just such a hardcore Gen Xer that like those dudes don't stack up to Mattingly and Wade Boggs?
Well, Wade Boggs also had a couple amazing cameos in "It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia."
Really?
Oh my
So
god!
I've never watched that show. Can I interrupt for a minute and ask? I've watched a lot of shows. Is Always Sunny worth watching.
Let me answer this first, okay? Because Nate has been after me for years. Well, he hasn't really been after me, but he mentioned it years ago, and I was like, okay, someday I'll get to it. Well, I got to it here in the last year or so. Nate, tell us what you think about It's Always Sunny.
It's amazing that it's still on the air.
It's still on the air?
Yeah, they just a couple months ago came out with season 15, I think. They, for 15 seasons, have been trying their very, very best to get canceled, pushing every single boundary that they can possibly push.
It's insanity.
The episode I'm talking about is one where the gang tries to break Wade Boggs' beer drinking record on a cross-country flight. Shenanigans ensue.
I've been rewatching Party Down. If you guys have ever watched Party Down,
never heard of it.
Oh my! So it's Adam Scott, Lizzie Kaplan. What's the guy's name from Freaks and Geeks? Haverchuck from Freaks and Geeks. It's epic. They're cater waiters in LA.
Where can you see this?
Hulu. Absolutely amazing. There's probably 15 episodes of it from probably 12 years ago. Ken Marino.
I don't remember that.
Oh, it's great. It's really great.
I've heard of it.
And I think they promo Always Sunny during the episodes. So you recommend. You got a thumbs up.
Well, listen.
If you're sensitive at all, then no, I don't recommend it.
Well, I'm not sensitive at all.
If you enjoy laughing and having a better life, then yeah.
You have to power through the first. Let me just say this: you have to power through the first 3 or 4 seasons. They're funny, but they're not like, classic comedy funny. But once you get that, they kind of hit their groove, and it is. I'll just tell you. I was at Nate's house last week before, and we were watching an episode, and I was embarrassed at how loud I was laughing at that episode. It was, and we can't describe it here. This is a family podcast. We can't describe what happened, but it was hilarious.
At one point, Danny DeVito becomes a regular cast member out of nowhere, and that's when
I thought he was always on it because I think I used to watch. What was that show? It wasn't that good. The League.
You're going to have to be a little bit more specific.
The League, the fantasy football show.
Yeah.
With Paul Scheer and those other dudes.
The Boys. That's the show that wasn't very good.
The Boys. I like The Boys.
Gosh.
I like The Boys on PBS.
Danny DeVito came in it's either season 2 or 3. And just to show you how good it is, my fiance literally cannot look at Danny DeVito without getting sick to her stomach. He makes her very uncomfortable. And she loves the show. She came around on Danny DeVito.
I recently saw a Twitter account where I don't know what the hell the context was, but the guy was calling hotels and requesting a 5x7 photo of Danny DeVito on his nightstand in a hotel. And then they would provide it, and it would be there when he checked in. I got to start doing that kind of thing.
Oh, Danny DeVito's popular with the kids these days.
Yeah?
My kids love Danny DeVito. He's a TikTok legend, evidently.
Big Taxi fans or
big Taxi fans.
No, twins. It was twins that did it for him.
He wasn't in Kindergarten Cop. I'm mixing them up. So anyway, yes, it's very good. I tell you what, that's just the first viewer mail question, guys. We got to get on the road here.
On it.
So watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I will recommend. Next question comes from our buddy Joey Gaditza from way up north, that country called Canada. Good day, fellas. Are any of you going to any music shows in the near future? Any music shows?
Nope.
Chris says no. Nate?
Yeah, I got a couple on my radar. Guy named Mark Broussard's coming to town in a couple weeks.
Not a real person.
Like Bayou Blues, Bayou Souls, what his brand is, but it's like jazz, rock, soul, funk, all into one. And then a country band called the Eli Young Band is coming a few weeks after that.
Not a real band.
Hey, Chad. Did you ever see Dave Matthews in concert?
No. No. You think that's bad? I do have tickets for one upcoming show, actually. I bought them last year late at night when I probably shouldn't have been purchasing things online. But I'm going to go now because I have tickets. Ticketmaster keeps telling me. I've never seen Jimmy Buffett. I'm going to go see Jimmy Buffett.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, you know
It'll
what?
probably be okay.
Jimmy Buffett might have been. Whatever. Enjoy it.
Chris, I sense a little hostility from you tonight. What's going on here?
I like Jimmy Buffett in 1996, but like.
But he's 80 now. He's got to be better, right?
I mean, I'm sure it's fun. It's fun. We once drove when I was in college at Ohio University in Athens, Ohio. We bought
Ohio University.
It is. That's what it says in the diploma, actually. We bought tickets for Jimmy Buffett at Riverbend in Cincinnati. And like 6 of us started driving down. We got 2 hours in. We're like in Jackson, Ohio on Route 32. And my buddy starts doing this business. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I don't think I had the tickets. I think I left them at home.
Oh.
I'm like, are you sure? And this is like 1994. There's no cell phones. There's no like mobile ticketing. We're completely effed. The tickets are left in Athens. We ended up looking around, couldn't find them. Drove to Riverbend and stood outside the arena.
Oh, my goodness.
Vaguely hearing the music.
Fun. Exciting times. You're still telling stories about it to this day.
Jimmy Buffett. No parrot heads.
Have you been to a Dave Matthews concert?
No.
He didn't want to answer.
I was on a sightseeing bus once in Chicago. Boat.
Oh, that's a filthy story.
We were going down the canal, and they said, "Hey, Dave Matthews is up there."
Was your mouth open when you looked up? Yeah. Ooh.
Got a surprise.
Yeah, Google that if you want to. Yeah. Well, you remind me of one other story that I'll tell really quickly. I had tickets to see Tom Petty in Cincinnati at what I will always call Riverfront Coliseum. And my buddy, who doesn't understand how the internet works, this was the year before Tom Petty, tragically passed, and so he ordered actually like paper tickets. You remember they used to have these paper tickets? Well, he ordered those, and he gave me my tickets, and so I said, "Good, great," So I set them on my table and left them there as I drove to Cincinnati, and we ended up sneaking in somehow. And there was a door open because people were coming out to smoke, and we just snuck in. So I made it without tickets. But in retrospect, I didn't have to pay for tickets. I wish I'd have known that. But Tom Petty, he did not back down. It's true. Now, Kyle Kapler has a question for us. And Kyle's question is a little bit rude because it's just directed at one of us. This one is for Chris, Kyle says. Steve Garvey, Steve Rogers, or Steve Selski? Which one's Hall of Fame worthy?
Steve Sachs.
Mortal Simpsons character. Is Steve Rogers like is he talking about the former Expos pitcher?
Is that the Expos pitcher or the Captain America?
The captain guy. Yeah, I figured he was talking about the Expos pitcher.
I feel like Steve Rogers threw a one-hitter against the Reds on opening day, 1983 or something. But Selski can cram it.
As that's the 10th time that's been said on this podcast.
Indeed.
James Urban says he's been brainstorming. If we don't have a season start on time this year, and we won't, what should we have? Number 1, a movie hot take podcast where any and all cinema is covered, but only in hot takes.
Love that.
2,
idea.
a college baseball podcast, basically the MLB, but just with that annoying ping of the bat instead. Or 3, stories from Nate and Chad's childhood. I think these are the best courses of action. Thoughts?
I'm all about number 1, a movie hot take.
I like them all. I want to hear stories about Chad, with his knees on Nate's shoulders, like shoving grass in his mouth.
No, that was one of our other brothers.
There's some other brothers do that.
I was trying to pull the other brother off.
I will. So this is time to talk. I'm a huge NCAA softball fan.
Oh my
Love
goodness.
Love it. And
Well,
we started-
listen, I was going to say, Chris, you've got a daughter that's playing softball now, and mine is kind of aged out. But for years, we played the travel softball and high school softball. And I'm here to tell you, softball is a much better spectator sport than baseball. It just is. I mean, that's the fact of the matter.
100.
And we hear all, and I agree that, if women want to play baseball, they should be able to play baseball. But every time I see those arguments, I'm like, but softball's a pretty doggone good game. Maybe the boys should be playing that.
Freaking rules. It's like now once they get into the College World Series, the pitching starts dominating to a point where it's not that much fun. But from February 15th through May 15th, it's on, and they go at it. They're done in an hour and 40 minutes, and you get all the fun of baseball on like a confined space. It's really great.
None of that nonsense pitch count crap.
It's true.
Girls will just throw for 6 months straight.
They don't care. They'll have 2 pitchers per team. It's great.
It's literally true. I mean, if your kids ever play the travel sports, the travel softball is so much better than travel baseball. And I don't know if you've gotten there yet, Chris, but travel softball tournaments, again, they're basically limited to an hour. So the games are over in an hour. The tournament is all in one day. Now, if your daughter is on a good team, you start at 9 a.m, and sometimes you end literally. We ended at 4 a.m. at some point, but then you don't have to go back the next day. But whereas with baseball, these rules about pitch counts, and you got to spread the games out, and it's baseball. I love it, but we're going to transition to a softball podcast. I think that's the answer.
I'm with you.
Unless Nate has a movie hot take for us here.
Tombstone is the greatest movie of all time.
It's not a hot take.
Crazy, but I'm open to that too. I'm open to a movie hot take podcast. Tell me why The Third Man is no good.
Wait, are you? Is that your hot take that it's no good?
No, I want to hear somebody tell me that so I can destroy them.
Oh no. Okay, good. Phew. If you haven't seen The Third Man, that's one of my inner circle Hall of Fame movies. Yeah.
I'm a Zitter guy.
Are you?
Oh, sure.
a lot of that in The Third Man. It's haunting. Next question comes from Hooper Powell. This is actually a good question from Hooper, which is a little surprising. What's your all's favorite non-Reds sporting event that you've attended? Favorite non-Reds sporting event?
Chad. I know what you're going to say.
You do know what I'm going to say. I went to a game, Chattanooga Lookouts game, when Ryan Hannigan played there. And let me tell you, it was special. It was a special day. The weather was perfect. It was just you actually don't. I know what everyone thinks I'm going to say, and that's actually not where I was going to go. So you all answer, and then I'll come in with my hot take.
When I was I think it was my first or second year of college, my roommate was from New York, and I went up to visit him over the summer, and me, and his little brother. His little brother was probably like 12 or 14 years old. Went to a Yankees game. It's an old Yankee stadium. So I got to see Old Yankee, and it was pretty special. I think it was the last year of Old Yankee. It was super fun. But my favorite moment was, you know how sometimes those annoying fans will blow up a beach ball and start like smacking it around? Well, that was gone, and it had been getting slapped around for about 2.5 innings. So people were really getting into it.
Slapping it around, huh, for 2 innings.
Magically, it makes its way to me, and I slap it, and it immediately goes down into the steps of the concourse. I ruined a 2.5 inning stretch. That would have been pretty embarrassing, but as soon as I did it, I pointed at my buddy's little brother and started booing. So next thing you know, there's about 3,000 other people nearby booing this kid. But
it's not good.
Entirely, and I really enjoyed it. So sorry, Rob Aldana.
Oh man, Chris, what's yours? Favorite non-Red sporting event?
Oh man, that I've been to in person. That's tricky. I saw a game. 1996. I happened to be at in Peoria, Illinois, at the Bradley campus, and I saw a game between Bradley and Tulsa that went overtime, and really good game. And Bradley won it in overtime.
Was that before or after Hersey Hawkins?
After Hersey Hawkins, I could not care less about either Bradley or Tulsa, but a really awesome game that I happened to be on campus for, and it was a lot of fun.
Did you consider going to the Super Bowl, by the way, this year?
I did. You know what? And ultimately, I guess I'm glad that I didn't go out there and get stuck in that stadium with it after the Bengals lost. But I thought about it. I had the privilege of probably getting a face value ticket or two and being able to go, but I wanted to watch my kids. You know, we watched the games together. I wanted to spend that day with my boys, and win or lose, like be with them rather than either a stranger or somebody else.
I saw the video you posted. They look pretty excited pregame. Yeah. So for me, obviously, everyone thinks I'm going to say the Final Four, which that's actually the real answer. But the truth of the matter is, before that, I had a couple of stock answers. In 2006, I went to the U.S. Open tennis tournament. And let me just tell you something. If you've not been to the U.S. Open, it's amazing. We were, it was Andre Agassi's final U.S. Open. And so he was the night match. And I don't know, it was just for years, I said, that is the most fun I've ever had at any sporting event. And then after that, it was, I had a lot of fun at the U.S. versus Mexico in a World Cup qualifier there in Columbus. Did you ever go to a World Cup qualifier in Columbus, Chris Garber?
I think we did. Is that what we went to together?
Yeah, that was fun.
That was awesome.
It was exciting. Yeah. People singing from an hour before the game till an hour after. Dos a cero. Exactly. Yes. So that's what I would say. So anyway, but I can't compete with Bradley University. Tulsa. All right, we got to power through these last few. It's time for the speed round. Scott Boldman with Universal DH. My fear is that the next step is to merge into one league and realign divisions again. How soon do you see something like this coming? Same time as a 16-team playoffs? Thanks. So, Scott, good question. I've long thought that at some point it's going to be like the NBA, where you're going to kind of have conferences. Don't you think there's going to be a realignment at some point where the conferences are going to mean nothing and the divisions are going to mean nothing? It seems like that's inevitable to me.
I think they see enough benefit to like the structure of separating them, but there's no principle behind it. No, like there's nothing like, oh well, AEL is Byron Bancroft Johnson's league. It's just coincidence, but I think they'll hold the difference for a while. They're not going to like shift it every year, but they don't give a crap.
I feel like it might not be a terrible thing if we're trying to get younger people more involved. And there's a lot of really good, young, fun, energetic, enthusiastic players out there, the Tatis Juniors of the world. Get them in as many cities as you can.
Sure, why not? It's coming, I think, at some point. Okay, next question comes from Rich Thompson. Chris says, Chris. I literally just said his name is
sure,
Rich.
Why not?
Oh, my goodness. Will we have MLB prior to May 1? No.
Let's go back. He tried to do a thing. Let's recognize the thing that he tried to do.
Thank you. That's true. He did try to do a thing, and Rich is good about this. He starts his question with, I don't know why I skipped this. I apologize, Rich. Chris just kind of called me out on it publicly. To be, as in second base. To be or not to be? Well, that is the question. Do either of you think we'll have Major League Baseball prior to May 1?
I'm going to save the last of my optimism for there being baseball in the month of April.
Agree. I think they'll play.
Very good. I hope you all are right. Next question. Will Jonathan India go down in Reds history as the second best second baseman to play other than Joe Morgan? Way too early to say that. He's no Ron Oster yet.
He's got to beat out Junior Kennedy.
If he has one more good season, he might be already.
That's actually true, yeah. Although, again, here goes Nate discounting Junior Kennedy.
This erasure will not stand.
This aggression will not stand. Carl Mitz, hey, from Austin, Texas. Hey, Carl.
Hey, Carl.
Carl, what team in the NL Central has the greatest advantage with the addition of the DH to the National League? Personally, I believe it to be the Reds, but curious as to how y'all think we stack up against our rivals. Yeah, I'm going to say it's the Reds. It's obviously the Reds. There's no one else even close, right? Does anyone disagree with that?
I mean, it gives the Pirates another chance to field an even more inferior ball club.
I've not paid enough attention, but the Reds obviously have enough guys who don't have a position to play that should make the most sense for them.
Hey, you'd think it'd be the team that was the deepest, but instead it's a team that they just have too many players without a position. So
and
go
the
Reds.
Reds have a lot of guys that are going to need breaks. Tyler Stevenson, Joey Votto, Jesse Winker. Sometimes, it's got to be the Reds.
Yeah, Suarez and Moose need lots of breaks, like 162 game breaks. Last question, Seth Shaner. Seeing Zach Taylor, that's the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, seeing his extension news made me wonder, they extended his contract, what percentage of professional sports contract negotiations are contentious at some point or another? Are there any absolutely no-brainer deals, or do agent and management inevitably quibble over something? Do the lawyers think their job wasn't done properly if they didn't at least fight a little? Well, luckily we have a lawyer on the podcast here.
Yeah,
lawyers like to fight.
He's right. I mean, they're not going. Nobody ever signs the first offer. Everybody has to posture a bit to make sure their client understands they've been working for them. So, no matter how great the offer is, nobody signs the first one.
There you go. There's your answer. All right, guys, we got to get out. We've gone long once again. Any final thoughts, Nate? I'll toss it to you first.
It's past my bedtime.
Yeah, sorry about that. Chris?
Go Reds.
Can we get some baseball? Some baseball back, please. Let's make something happen.
Please. Yes. So for Chris Garber, Nate Dotson, and Mark Grudzelanek, this is Chad Dotson saying, so long, everyone.